proud of you guys.
Yeah.
No more tears.
Dude, I've been crying a lot lately.
It's bad. Dude.
What do you want me to say? This is open and honest forum.
What's up, public? Welcome back to our Fade the Public podcast in the contaminated dungeon. It's your man's Nicholas. We are here with Animal and Snacks. As always, we're covering everything 2019 fantasy football, as well as our high-stakes fantasy football league, the E-Town Get Down. Today, we're getting into a rookie mock draft. So for those of y'all that participate in Dynasty leagues, if you're in a Dynasty fantasy football league, your rookie draft is likely coming up within the next month or so, right? As soon as the NFL draft happens, y'all are itching to get back into fantasy. You have your rookie drafts. Most of them are 4 rounds. Today, we're just going to do the first round, and this is pre-NFL draft. We're going to do another one post-NFL draft when we actually know where dudes are. Speaking of, if you're watching this, I believe this came out on Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, which means our asses
We're driving.
We are in the car right now on the way to Nashville to participate in the NFL draft, baby. We are being acknowledged by the NFL as media, a media company covering the NFL draft. It's fake news. We're fucking going.
Are we really?
Absolutely not.
Did you talk to them and we know about this?
Nashville PD has actually tweeted at me saying they know I'm coming. So
Yeah. Everybody watch out for this man. They got pictures of snacks on every corner. Yeah. So we're heading down to the NFL draft, and we will be covering the entire thing. So if you want to see all the behind-the-scenes nonsense that's going to go on while we're down there, make sure you're following us on Instagram. That's at Big Dogs Fantasy, as well as our personal shit, which we'll link down below. Make sure you got the notification bell on right underneath this video. There's a little bell if you scroll down so that you will know when we go live on YouTube, because we're going to be going live both mornings that we wake up, unfortunately, and we'll talk to you, recap the nights, recap the draft picks and stuff like that, from both a personal standpoint and an NFL draft fantasy football standpoint. All that being said, if you're not new to the channel, you know by now we're opening up a Dynasty fantasy football league for our subscribers. It's us 3, my editor Scott, as well as 8 of y'all. 6 of the spots will go to people who are donating to our GoFundMe, GoFundMe.com/BigDogsDraft. We will be selecting the members of the draft, or the members of the Dynasty League, the Fade the Public Dynasty League, on Saturday morning, okay? We're going to live stream, so make sure you have the notifications on.
If we're alive.
Unfortunately, if we're not alive, then you've wasted a lot of money, and I'm not really sure where. We'll make sure all the money goes to your family so that they can buy Benny tons and tons and tons of treats.
I think that's a great idea. He's getting very fat. We need him fatter.
Yeah,
so.
we need the thickness over here in the dungeon. So you can head over to GoFundMe.com/BigDogsDraft. For every $1 you get 1 entry. These will be completely random, raffled off. For every $25 you enter into the GoFundMe, you get an extra 10 tickets, 10 entries. So that's how that works. This will be pretty much the last time to submit. We're going to close off the GoFundMe raffle at midnight Friday going into Saturday. So 12 a.m. Eastern time Saturday, technically. So make sure you get your donations in before then. Before then, we have 2 free spots available as well. It'll be the Google Forms link down below. It'll be labeled free fucking entries, and I'll pick that at probably a little bit of a later date. So the 6 paid spots will be raffled off Saturday morning. Make sure you got the notification bells on. Y'all ready to mock it up a little bit?
Can't wait.
I'm ready.
Let's get it. So with the first pick in the 2019 Rookie Dynasty mock draft, the 101, Animal,
101.
You are on the clock.
All right, so for the 101 in my Dynasty draft, I'm taking N'Keal Harry.
Bad pick.
All right. Listen.
Love that.
N'Keal Harry.
At the gate, we're fucking rattling Animal.
He is a physical route runner. He plays through all the contact. He's got great hand strength, which allows him to squeeze that ball and pull in those contested targets. He's 6'2" and 228 pounds, which is a big frame for a wide receiver. 40 times.
Can we say that again? That size? Repeat
6'2",
that.
228.
6'2", 228.
That's a thick.
That's
man.
a thick
He's
boy.
thick. He's not the tallest, but he's Benny thick.
He's
thick.
He's thick.
He's thick.
38.5-inch vertical jump. 4.5 40. And here's what I really like about N'Keal Harry. almost 48% of his yards came after the catch. He's a monster run after the catch guy. He catches the ball. He creates space. He breaks tackles. And that's what you want if you're going to take someone 101. You want a guy that you know is going to be on the field and scoring. Over the past 3 years of his college career, he's stayed on the field and played 37 out of 38 games. He's shown he's durable. He's totaled 100 yards in just 9 of his 37 college games, and he finished with less than 55 yards in only 4 of his final 25 games, which shows an idea of his floor ceiling and just the fact that he's consistent.
Say he's went under 100 yards in only 9 of his 37 games?
He totaled 100 yards in just 9 of his 37, and he went less than 55.
Just
wow.
So he's between 55 and 100 is like his average.
Okay.
So, I mean, for a wide receiver, if you can get anywhere between 55 to 100 yards a game with maybe a score, I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at his overall profile, there's like, the only downside I see from a lot of people is just like, you can't create separation, which is like, how are you just going to sit there and say he doesn't, like, I'll take your 1,300 yards of non-separation created. Like, how are you going to tell me he doesn't create separation when he fucking puts up these ridiculous numbers? You know what I mean?
Literally doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's a flaw.
He's very young, too. He's just over the age of 21. Like you said, he ran a 4.53 40 was the official. Puts him in the 90th percentile for weight-adjusted speed score, given his massive 6'2", 228 frame. So, you mentioned his yak, right?
Yep.
They used him a lot in that offense on screens.
Yes.
But, and people, are like, oh, you know what? That's not going to translate into NFL. They're not going to use him like that. That's fine. Maybe that is true,
though.
But that also displays his athletic ability.
Yep.
Like,
Yes.
he was a kick
Oh, yeah.
returner, too. Like, they used him all over the field. When you have someone, I'd be concerned maybe if it was someone who was like 5'11" and 198 pounds, and you're like, okay, maybe they'll catch him quick screens. 6'2", 228, and you're telling me that he could use that body to be an absolute playmaker after the catch? Like, any NFL team is going to be able to use him in a ridiculous amount of ways.
In 2018, he had 1,088 yards receiving, and 515 came from after the catch.
Yeah, which is crazy,
That's
man.
a lot.
It just tells you he's a fucking athlete. And he can catch the ball downfield. His size, you can use him in the red zone, too. Like,
yes. He said, I'd say the fade route for sure is my favorite route. With my size, I know I can go up at a high point the ball in that area. It's a route that really works well for me.
Yeah.
I agree with that. He's a big, tall guy. He can jump very high, box him out, and get those contested balls. I think he would be great on the Packers catching back shoulder fades. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
You could throw him in the slot, too. Someone that's that athletic that can move so well after the ball. Man, just get the ball in his hands quickly and let him do the rest of the work.
Yeah. So, I mean, to sum it up, I think he's got all the necessary athletic traits to become a wide receiver 1 in the NFL level. He's got a pretty good route tree, makes adjustments to off-target throws, and he's been very productive over these number of years in his college career. So,
yeah. And he broke out at such a young age, like 18 years old.
He's been consistent throughout. It's not like his senior year and he just broke out and now we're hearing of him.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm all in on N'Keal Harry as a 101. At the 102, I'm going to go with my boy, A.J. Brown. And I'm actually having a hard time, not putting Brown up there with Harry. I think Harry probably has a higher ceiling, but Brown's floor is hard to argue against. The way I look at Brown is he is Juju Smith-Schuster, the second coming of him, but he is 10 pounds heavier, and he actually runs faster. He's another one of these fucking huge wide receivers, right? 6 foot.
Sneaky big.
Yeah, 6 foot 226, exactly, right? 4.49 40-yard dash. So we broke the 4.5 mold. 90th percentile weight adjusted speed score. So you have the build, right? You have the size, you have the speed. So we have to look at his production, right? And you go to his time at Ole Miss. Now, his freshman year was the only year that he didn't really post monster numbers, and ironically, it was Evan Ingram was there during his freshman year. But as soon as Evan Ingram departed, that is when your boy, A.J. Brown, broke out. 2017, he played in 11 games, caught 75 passes, 1,252 yards, 11 touchdowns. On a per-game basis, that's 114 receiving yards. Put up 114 receiving yards a game, caught a touchdown. He didn't catch a touchdown in every game, but he averaged, a touchdown a game. 11 touchdowns, 11 games. Individual game lines of 8, 223-2, 8, 156-2, 8, 174-2, 14 for 185-2, and 6 for 167 and a touchdown at Mississippi State's house. He does the same thing in 2018, improves the reception totals, 85 catches, 1,320 yards in 12 games. So again, averaging over 110 receiving yards a game. That's a 2-year stretch of averaging over 110 receiving yards a game. It's like, right? And that's while sharing the field with D-Fade Metcalf and DeMarcus Lodge. You have 2 other NFL prospects on the field with you, and you're averaging over 110 receiving yards a game, right? Like, if they weren't there, would Brown put 2,000 yards up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that it could happen for sure.
And they use him a lot in the slot, right? And that's how a lot of people are projecting him to play in the NFL. He's another one of these big slot receivers.
The NFL's getting really slotty.
Yeah, very slotty NFL. He ranked first in the SEC in yards per route run from the slot. I was actually surprised to see he only ran 36% of his snaps from the slot last year. He played a lot on the outside as well. So it's just his ability to be able to move around. And I found this interesting tweet from Sports Info Solutions. In 2018, NFL defenses collectively played zone 53% of the time. Among draft-eligible wide receivers, A.J. Brown had the highest yards per target against zone defense last season, 14.8.
Very good stat.
The guy just fucking gets it done. Also, another quick tidbit, he was drafted in the MLB draft back in 2016, and he's been attending some of the camps.
He's an athlete.
He was an outfielder, tremendous athlete, which means he could track passes.
Track the ball, yeah.
Exactly. So I think he's a can't miss. You know, his size, speed combination, along with just the production there, while these other guys are on the field with him, just tells me that like if an offense uses him correctly, he arguably has the highest floor ceiling combo in this draft. I hope he goes to the Patriots. I hope he goes to the Colts. I hope he goes to one of these dominant teams that could slot him in there right away. Even the 49ers, I think, would be a really good fit too.
Yeah, Shanahan would definitely be able to work with him.
Yeah, so throw him in. I honestly think if A.J. Brown goes to the Niners, I think he will take over that wide receiver one role there quickly, and I think he'll be like the first rookie wide receiver to pass 1,000 yards since I don't think we've seen it since OBJ and Mike Evans did it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think he'll crack that if he goes to San Fran. Yeah, so that AJ Brown's my 102. What you got at 103?
103. I mean, you guys both present great arguments for both, and it's kind of hard to ignore. But my favorite receiver in the class is Hakeem the Dream Butler from Iowa State. 6'5", 225. The guy's he's a locomotive. He's a big boy. 4.8, 4.48 40, 36-inch vert. So his measurables are good.
4.48 40.
4.48 40.
Puts him in the 97th percentile for weight adjusted speed score.
Dude,
beast.
He's a fucking beast.
Yes.
He's got everything. What my favorite thing about him is, and it literally has nothing to do with fantasy, it's just coming from me, he's a great blocker. So he is an outstanding blocker. So if he gets in the right system, he's gonna be great. But he's a bully. He's a great route runner. He's great after the catch. Contested catch is great. I was looking at his numbers here. So obviously he went 60 receptions, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. But he had big games against Oklahoma, who was in the playoffs. But, you know, they played Alabama in the fucking playoffs. So that's a big game. He went 5 for 174 and 2 touchdowns. He averaged 22 yards a catch.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That was against Bama or Oklahoma?
That was against Oklahoma.
Okay.
He didn't play Bama, but Oklahoma's obviously not the best defense. But Iowa State is not the best offense. They were a defensive team.
No, all you got to do is zone in on him or
that's
Montgomery.
That's all they had. Right. And he ate them apart. Washington State was one of the best defenses in the country. He went 9 for 192. He didn't have a touchdown, but he averaged 21 yards a catch. Like, he just ate them up. One of the best defenses in the country. You could slot him in anywhere you want. He's going to be productive. He's best in vertical routes. From what we see, what we hear, he's a go route guy. Right. His route running isn't the best yet. It's not polished, but good coaching. I think you could work with that. And my favorite quote was from who wrote it. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to say who wrote it because I hate the scumbag. But Evan Silva, fuck you. He's a power forward receiver. So he's a bully. And I think that's an accurate description.
Evan Silva loves Hakeem Butler.
Yeah,
I think he's his wide receiver one.
Ugh, you know what?
Change that pick.
No, I don't change the pick because I love Hakeem Butler. That's the only thing me and Evan Silva have in common. Are
you concerned about a lot of people like Butler. I think like when I watch the film and when I look at the numbers and stuff, I'm like, geez, this guy's a fucking animal. And it wouldn't surprise me in a couple of years we're looking back at him as, you know, an AJ Green type or something like that. He's so long and he gets down the field so well, catches deep passes, catches contested catches. You know, he could do it all pretty much.
Contested catch skill is his best attribute.
Yeah, my concern is that like he was redshirted freshman year, and then when he played his first year as a freshman, he caught 9 balls.
Yeah, he was
at Iowa State. And then his sophomore year, he kind of broke out, 41 for 697. But again, that's at Iowa State.
This is his breakout year.
There's no, the problem is it was his 4th year, and now he's going to be 23. Right. Like you're old. Like you should come into the league if you're 23, 24, around that age, like as a refined
NFL right,
as a defined route runner. Yeah, and that's like
that's my biggest concern, and that was the first thing I wrote down. He's not perfect on his route running.
Yeah,
I think that is tough to coach.
Struggles with press too. Struggles with press coverage.
Yeah, that I understand. I just think his physical attributes and his production in his senior year at a school that isn't known for offense, I couldn't even tell you who the fucking quarterback was. They're a defensive team, Iowa State, and I mean, production doesn't lie to me. And then when you watch them, my eyes pop. And I love the name Hakeem. Hakeem Nicks was great for me in the Super Bowl. So a little bias there, but I'm all in on Hakeem Butler. If he goes into the right system, like you said, the Packers, I think he'd be perfect there. I think I mocked him there. Mm-hmm. I think I did.
I mean, I'm really interested to see where all these wide receivers fall.
Yeah, it's gonna be very. I think we're gonna have to wait till the second round to see where.
Yeah,
you're gonna. I think
it's
two
interesting.
go in the first, and then we'll see what happens.
I think like that. Those picks like 22. I think the Ravens are 22. Mm-hmm. 22 to 32. I think we could have a run. We could have a run of like 4 wide receivers there, or we could have like 1 fall in there. So it's like it's gonna be really fucking interesting to see there. So 3 wide receivers off the board right away. Who we got at the 104 spot?
104, I'm going to take the first running back off the board, and that is Josh Jacobs from Alabama. Listen, I really like him, but I have my reservations. But listen, he is very, very strong after contact. He had 4.7 yards after the first contact attempt. Last season, he notched a first down on 41% of his rushing attempts. He led all running backs in college football. He's versatile as a receiver out of the backfield, and he averaged 12.4 yards per catch, forced 21 missed tackles.
That's a good number.
On
12.4 yards per
12
per
catch.
Averaging
12.4 yards per catch, and forced 21 missed tackles on 48 career receptions. So listen, he can make people miss. He can break tackles. He's a 3-down back. The only problem with him is he hasn't had the workload his career. He's only had, let me see, I got the number. He has 317 touches in 3 seasons. Is not a lot.
100 touches a year, yeah. Like you have guys in college getting that in 1 year.
Yeah. And the majority of those touches were from this year. So
that's yeah. I mean, we were talking about this.
Makes me nervous a little bit.
Does it though? I kind of makes me nervous too, but I also don't hate it.
So here's why I like him is from his tape, just from what I see on the tape. And listen, that that can be up to your own personal opinion on it. Yeah. But he makes people miss in space. He's going to have the opportunity to be on a team and be the number 1 guy. He's probably gonna be the number 1 running back off the board. It's going to be drafted into most likely the Raiders is my pick, but he'll be the guy carrying the ball constantly. He's used dynamically and more dynamically than just like a flat release. He can run routes. He's got a pretty good route tree. He can do angle routes, wheel routes, verticals. He's got it there. And this is my favorite stat about him. Only 3 career fumbles in those 317 touches. Only 3 fumbles. So, and only 1 of those this season. So, I mean, ball security, that's huge when you're talking about running back.
He's scared of Nick Saban if he fumbles the football.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I'd like to see a stat of like Alabama running backs historically versus every other NCAA running back. Number of fumbles.
The biggest concern is just the lack of carries. He had 11 games under 10 carries this year. Which
11 games under 10 carries.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like that's the other thing. Jacobs, the film is good, but we haven't like you could put together a highlight film of any running back. I want to see
a highlight to get film of me during my day.
I don't know if we'd go that.
A couple of his games were he had 1 game with 20 carries, he had 97 yards and 1 touchdown. So like, can he consistently do that? Is my biggest concern.
I value production. I value production over flashes on film and stuff. And I agree. When you watch the film, the guy looks really fucking good. Yep. But I think we've seen that before. The other thing is too, like his testing wasn't good. He's like one of the only.
He did not do very well at the combine.
4.69 40. Yep. You're at the 4.7 mark. That's really not fucking good at all. It's a horrible speed score.
He was in the 19th percentile for college target share.
Yeah, and you know what? Like he is good in the receiving game. Like he's a very natural pass catcher. They just didn't. They didn't throw the ball to him, which is another concern of mine because everyone, it's easy to say like, oh, if they just used him correctly, but it's like. Okay, they would have thrown the ball if he was that, it's like that's my concerns. But I think when push comes to shove, the one thing that trumps everything is the draft capital, and he's the consensus RB1. So
that's the biggest thing.
If he's a first round pick, like he's going to get the workload. In his
I'm sure
rookie
there
year.
are running backs in this draft that are probably going to end up doing better than him and being better, but they might not start. They might be the number 3 guy on their roster. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to get to put them in the game. You're not going to get any use out of them until they break out.
Each round, like lower you get picked in the draft, is a little bit riskier. Yep. And if Josh Jacobs, and of course we're going to redo this again after the draft actually happens.
This is all dependent on we're picking and we don't know where they're going. The system wise, everything could change. So.
Yeah, it's just to give you guys a feel for where we would start valuing these players now. But yeah, if Josh Jacobs is a first round pick, he's got to be on your radar for.
Listen, if you're a guy who likes running backs, I think he's the guy that you have to go after.
Yeah.
If you want a running back over a wide receiver, Josh Jacobs has to be your guy.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Like I would probably side on on the cautious side of things when it comes to Jacobs, just because I do value the consistent production over a long period rather than people subjectively telling me that he's really good on tape. Like that's something I've kind of shied away from a little bit. But anything else to add with Jacobs here?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll move on to the 105, which is myself, and I'm going to go with the RB2 off the board, and that is Miles Sanders for me out of Penn State. He has slowly been creeping up Dynasty rookie rankings, and I've seen him as the RB1 for a lot of people actually that I value their opinion. He is a guy that was very heavily recruited out of high school. He was a 5-star recruit, one of the top overall recruits in the entire country. But then he spent 2 years behind Saquon Barkley. So, Saquon.
Great ball player.
Baquan Barkley. Penn State.
Great ball player.
He touched the ball 64 times in 23 games over those first 2 years. Barkley left, and Sanders kind of just picked up exactly where Barkley, left Penn State. So we look at Sanders' junior year. It's his final season at Penn State. He concluded with over 1,400 yards from scrimmage, 9 total touchdowns, touched the ball 244 times, 24 of those times via reception. So his 1,274 rushing yards and 1,400 yards from scrimmage ranked second and third in the Big Ten among running backs, respectively. So my only concern is, like, when you look at Miles Sanders, he's arguably the most all-around complete back in this class. The only thing that scares you is, like, okay, he didn't have production, but obviously he might literally have the most, like, reasonable excuse for not having production.
Yeah,
like,
well,
you could literally make
issue.
Yeah, it was an opportunity issue, but then he steps into his junior year. He produces at a high level. He tests really fucking well at the combine. I have some numbers here. He ran a 4.49, which puts him in the 75th percentile weight-adjusted speed score. So his 40 time was 6th highest among running backs at the combine, and all of the guys that ranked ahead of him, except for Rock Armstead at a Temple, way less than Sanders. So their weight-adjusted speed scores weren't that impressive compared to him. Third fastest 20-yard shuttle time and the single fastest 3-cone time there. So, yeah, when I just look at Miles Sanders, I just think he is among one of the very few backs in this class that actually has some size. 5'11", 211 pounds. Most of the guys are either much smaller, or if they're bigger, they're really slow or haven't produced,
Power bags.
So
He's got some girth to him.
Yeah, so he has size, the same size as, some guys that we see in the league, like the Marlon Max, or, even like the Melvin Gordon, maybe a little bit smaller than that. But, like, he's got good size, and now he's got good speed, tested really well, and we saw the production in college. So if you're looking at a complete overall profile, 24 catches his last year there, that's around, like, the cutoff where I'm like, okay, he's good at, catching passes and can do so at the next level. I like him as an all-around guy. So depending on where he falls, I think that I would like to see him go to Chicago, to be honest with you. I think he could take over that starting role there over Mike Davis. I know they just signed him, but I think they want to kind of redo that entire backfield there in Chicago.
That's a good fit with Nagy, yeah.
Yeah, so give me Miles Sanders at the 105.
So that's 107.
106.
After 5 is 6.
Listen.
Listen.
Long night.
Listen up, motherfucker.
But to probably, he is one of my favorite players in the NFL draft, TJ Hockenson. Tight end's going early. I put a premium on tight end because in the NFL now, can you bank on 3 tight ends? 4 tight ends?
Yeah, they're very limited.
They're very limited. And he is, to me, the most NFL-ready, skilled position player. He's going to come in and be an instant starter. He's a stud.
I love
He's an absolute stud. He's going to go, I think he's going to go top 15.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, you had him at, 8?
8, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at any mock draft, it's anywhere from 8 to like 14-ish.
He's going top 15. He projects to be an instant starter right away. He's going to get that volume. Last year, he had 49 catches, 760 yards, 6 touchdowns. And he had 1 rush for 4 yards and a touchdown. Versatile.
Love that.
I just saw that. It was made me laugh. But 6'5", 251, rate of 4.740. I mean, come on. The guy's a what? He's a what?
a freak athlete.
He's a freak athlete. 37.5 vert. He's a natural pass catcher. He runs the routes. He could play split. He could play on the line. He's a great blocker. He's going to come in right away.
Monster blocker.
He's a monster blocker.
Go watch some of his
He's
blocks.
a fucking stud, man.
Nothing to do with fantasy, but they're unbelievable.
His tape is a thing of God.
Yeah.
As a tight end, it's a thing of God. And he wasn't the only tight end on his roster. We'll get to that later. So it's like, I mean, put him in the right spot. Put him with Aaron Rodgers. Put him with Tom. He's going to be perfect anywhere you put him. So he doesn't have that breakaway speed, but that over the middle, He's gonna be perfect.
He's gonna be tearing up.
He's gonna be tearing up defenses over the middle.
I can't wait for the Bills are just gonna absolutely ruin someone's fantasy outlook. Like
Probably
they're gonna take TJ Hockenson
Probably
at 9,
him.
and then
I
like
can see that because who they have there? They have what's his name? Clay.
I think he's gone.
Wait,
Yeah,
Charles
he's
Clay
like
died like 2
he's
years
like
ago.
dying. Yeah, so
I think I started him one week and I hated my life.
Yeah, fuck
I think
that.
he got me.
if you're starting him, then yeah,
0.1 points.
things
But-
obviously are bad at that point.
Yeah, my life's bad. So TJ Hockenson is a complete stud.
Yeah,
and
a lot of
he's
people are
coming in
shying
right
away from taking
They're
like
done.
a tight end
Done.
in the mid to early first round. But like I think Hawkinson's a guy that people will be like, it's like the popular take to be like, oh, it's too early. But in 3 years, when we look back and you have a Kelsey in your lineup because you have TJ Hockenson, people are gonna be like, wow, you took him over like a fucking 5'8" running back. Like obviously that was a great pick.
Yeah. Look what Travis Kelce's done to that Kansas City offense.
Yeah, well, that's like one of those things. It's a risk reward thing. Like you have to take that risk on him because if he
And then
turns
you
out to be one of those top tight ends, he'll be way more
You're
valuable
set.
than just
You're
having any
set.
other
You have
running
a-
back. Or
Right.
wide
The
receiver.
other reason I think that people kind of shy away from tight ends is the fact that like you're almost never gonna get startable production from a tight end in the rookie year.
Yeah.
So people would rather have, a running back, even if they're like a low end RB2.
What can you do for me now?
Producing your starting lineup. So I think it also depends on your team right now. Like
Yep.
if you have Kelsey, I don't think taking Hockenson in the first round is a bad idea
would
because
100% take it.
Kelsey's like 30, whatever. He'll
Yeah.
be, his elite production will probably be done within the next 2 to 3 years. And then that's when Hockenson will probably be entering his prime. So I think it revolves around your team. Like if you're very RB needy right now in your dynasty league and you have that like 106, 108 or something like that, and, a Darrell Henderson's on the board or some shit like that, and you think he could get into your lineup immediately versus Hockenson, you might want to make a swap there, but it would be lineup dependent.
I completely agree, and depending where he goes, I think he'd come in right away and be a monster.
Yeah,
So
it's a fucking animal.
I'd love to see him on the Colts, but I mean that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
so.
no way. That would be great though.
That would be so great. He'd be perfect.
Yeah, who's got the? Is it me or you?
It's me with the 107.
It's a me.
Oh, it's 7 now.
6, 7.
Well, because I messed up.
Yeah, you confused me a little bit, but we're back.
Tom Lamb was
We're
my
back.
We so bike.
So I went with David Montgomery, the running back out of Iowa State. I really like him because of this right here. Durable. He is
Top 5 traits of all time.
He is
Dylon, durability.
Dylan.
He's there for every game. He's not the most explosive, but the effort is there. He's a grinder. He's a wear you down kind of back. He comes
Do you
in.
like that for fantasy though?
Yeah.
Like, do you want a grinder on your team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, depends on
Look who you're talking to.
You could be a league that gets points for first down. We did that the one year.
True.
Stuff like that.
I wouldn't say that's the majority of the audience.
No, obviously, but there's little things that listen, his contact balance.
I agree.
It's unreal. He doesn't have the breakaway speed, but he doesn't get tackled. He breaks a ton of tackles. He's very hard to bring down. He's 5'10", 222, so he's pretty solid.
No, that's workhorse size.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize
very-
that. I didn't realize that was actually coming out.
Oh yeah, that was coming out.
I thought that was just internally.
Listen, he only averaged 4.8 yards per carry, which is a little concerning, but he was very elusive. He's a nation-leading 99 forced missed tackles. 99 forced missed tackles.
Where'd you get that from? From PFF?
Yes.
I think. I thought they hit 100. I thought he was like the only running back over the last, or maybe ever.
He was the number one, so I don't know. I have 99 here. Maybe he did.
Yeah,
hit 100.
I think per PFF he was like the only running back that ever hit 100 missed tackles forced
really?
in a
Maybe
single
they just
season.
added
Something
one in
crazy.
there
Yeah.
to do that, but
Maybe they just added one in there to do
Yeah,
that,
give him 100.
just to
Fuck-
get his crazy
fuck it.
stat.
the biggest thing with him was he had to do a lot of it on his own
Mm-hmm.
because the Iowa State, the line that they were number 97 run blocking unit. So out of 130 teams in the FBS. So not the best, but he showed the ability to carry a full workload, which I really liked. He had numerous games over 20 carries, 19 carries. He had this game against Kansas State, 19 carries, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 20 yards. So listen, he can do it all. He had 22 receptions his senior year or junior year, which is right around that mark where you want to see for a college guy. Anywhere from like 20 to 24, I think, is okay to see that they can translate into the NFL. I wouldn't expect many like breakaway big plays because he's not a burner. That's like the biggest thing. But listen, I just like him because of the durability and the ball security too. Only 3 fumbles in 3 years on 624 carries. So
Damn, man. If you stay on the field and don't fumble, you're an animal
that's
guy.
what I want.
You're an animal guy.
That's it. That's all I need from my running backs.
Yeah,
An opportunity.
Yeah.
Which
That
we'll
makes
have
sense.
to see what happens with whichever team drafts him.
Right.
But and he's got some comps they compared to Kareem Hunt, which I'm not really sure.
So he's gonna.
I can get it.
He's gonna beat
I can
women.
see
It's because he's not a
speed.
supreme athlete.
Yeah.
Like the testing is not off the charts, but he's very good, like elusiveness, balance, contacting. Like
Yeah,
that.
he had a 31% breakaway percentage, which it's not the best. But then the not tackled on first contact, 41% of the time.
Yeah, so
That's
he
a
was
good
always
stat.
making guys miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Montgomery, my two concerns were, I think he might be the running back that gets drafted within the first 3 rounds that has the widest range of outcomes.
Yeah.
Like when I look at Montgomery, the two concerning things were the 4.7 yards per carry in college, but
Yeah.
I think that was much
Kareem Hunt
more.
was around there too, and so was even Le'Veon Bell.
I think that that was way more of a product of the offensive line just being miserable,
Yeah,
like
terrible.
you said. And my other concern was the lack of breakaway speed, and this is the reason why I'd say
4.640.
Yeah, this is 4.63, and this is the reason why I would say his range of outcomes is so wide, is because like I've seen comps to Le'Veon Bell, and that makes sense because he's so fucking elusive,
Yep.
and he's very hard to bring down the first time around, and he's got the workhorse size.
Yeah, if you watch tape, you see guys just going around his hip, just to the waist, just trying to waist tackle him. They just can't get their hands around him.
Right, but if you put him on a bad team, it could go downhill very, very quickly because he can't really
Just running into the backs of his
He'll,
linemen.
yeah. Like he'll make a guy miss in the backfield, but he can't explode for to break away. Really, it's just like he needs to make so many guys miss in order to really get those 7 yards, right? And like those are great in real life, but for fantasy, like you need so many of those in order to add up. Your running back needs to hit like a 30-yard run or something like that every once in a while, but you don't get those from David Montgomery. So depending on where he lands, it is going to be like the big changer for me, or whether or not I like David Montgomery. Yeah, the lack of explosiveness scares me a little bit.
Yep.
Otherwise, yeah, his college production was, that's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, I just really like the attempts. He had a solid amount of carries throughout all of his games. So I mean, the
can't deny
fact that
that.
he can take the workload of an NFL
And he was using the passing
NFL
game.
back
Yeah,
is
I'm
what I
looking
really
at
like.
71st percentile college target share. So they didn't really throw the ball that much, but he had like 10% of the targets in that offense.
Yeah,
So,
I think it was mainly just Iowa State just wasn't that good.
yeah, 3 downs. I'm good with that. Two Iowa State guys in the top
Yeah, a little
7 draft
surprising.
picks of us.
A
Yeah.
little surprising.
So let's go with 3 guys from Iowa altogether from the state
Dude,
of
Iowa's a
fucking-
great state,
What the
man.
fuck, yeah.
We'll see.
Those
There might be
cornfields, man.
Could be
Dude,
another one.
They're thoroughbreds.
They're rolling out the big boys. All right, so I'm up at the 108, and the 108 is my man JJ Arcega-Whiteside out of Stanford University.
Jaw.
Jaws, as he's being commonly referred to as, because those are his initials, JJAW, and we're going to throw an S at the end, baby.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
He's an absolute fucking beast. I think the only question that people had prior to the draft process was his athleticism. And then he goes out on his pro day, runs it was a 4.49 at his pro day, but you add on a fifth of a tenth of a whatever for it not being at the combine. 4.54 we're looking at. A guy who's 6'2", 225 pounds, puts him in the 87th percentile weight adjusted speed score. Your athletic questionables are no more. So you have a guy who dominated at Stanford, especially down by the red zone. You have a guy that broke out at an early age, and now you have a guy with ridiculous size and speed. And another quick tidbit for the background, both of his parents were professional basketball players. He was a track star in high school as well, so the man can run.
got good genes.
It's in the blood, baby.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, people worry about him creating separation, which that makes sense because he's not very quick. Like, his feet aren't that quick. But when you look at, what his skill set really brings to the table, best in the NCAA in terms of contested catches, bar none. I don't think it's close. And in terms of controlling his body with the ball in the air, maybe him and Hakeem Butler probably fight for that top spot. Over the last 2 years, I got some stats from PFF we're going to rattle off right now. Over the last 2 years, he's led all college wide receivers in contested catches with 40. He has the single highest catch rate on deep targets over the last 2 years. So balls traveling more than 20 yards in the air, he is catching them at a higher percentage than anyone else. It just tells you that when the ball's in the air, he tracks it better than anyone else. He can control his body. He can control his hands. So even if he's not getting as much separation, if you put the ball in his vicinity, he's 6'2", 225. He's blocking out those cornerbacks against him. He had 8 touchdowns alone on deep targets last year, and that was third highest among all draft-eligible wide receivers. Only David Sills and Andy Isabella, and that's kind of like their calling cards. So him with his size is just ridiculous. And looking on a per route basis, he led all draft eligible wide receivers in both 2017 and 2018 in PFF's grading per route run. And like I said, we know he's a great downfield threat. He's ridiculously good in the red zone. He had the highest grade on both third and fourth downs and in the red zone per PFF. He also had 14 penalties drawn on him last year as a wide receiver.
Damn.
14, and he still ended up with 14 touchdowns overall.
Getting harassed out there.
Stud.
Yeah, higher yards per route run number than A.J. Brown did last year, who I love. So I think most of the questions about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside are just subjective questions. But when you dive into the numbers, the metrics, the profile overall that this guy put up,
The body of work.
there's not many objective objections to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. So I'm excited to see where he lands in the draft. He could probably go anywhere from early mid-second round, and I could see him falling to the late third. But throw him in a spot where he can, operate as the second guy on the outside or even the first guy on the outside if you already have a very good slot receiver. And I think we could definitely see him have a fair share of double-digit touchdown years in the NFL.
A lot of upside for Whiteside.
Exactly. Our J.J. Arcega upside.
You
Let's
were
get
thinking
it.
about that the whole time.
No, like 10 seconds ago, popped in my head.
Bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit?
I don't believe
You can't. You're not in my fucking head, man.
Oh, I am. Trust me.
Get out of here.
You don't even know. What pick is this?
I don't know.
It's your pick. Learn how to
I know
count.
it's my pick, asshole. I said what number?
109.
109. I'm going with Kelvin Harmon.
I got to drain the Brajoli, but you keep doing your thing.
It's fine with me.
You want to hold it for me?
Whatever. Anyway, fuck him. Anyway.
Scott will just put a picture of you there for now.
Yeah. I visualize an attack. It's okay. So we've been talking about a lot about production, right, over the course of his college career.
Let's talk,
Animal. So he came in as a freshman in 2016, and he played. He played 10 games. He had 27 catches, 462 yards, and 5 touchdowns. That's not that bad for an 18-year-old kid coming in right away.
No.
Then he skyrocketed to 69 catches, 1,000 yards. That's 1,000 yards.
1,000 yards.
1,000 yards.
You're going 1,100 or 1,000?
His touchdowns dipped to 4, but that's okay because his last year, which was this year, his junior year, he ripped off 81 catches for 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. His touchdowns aren't always there. Clearly, he went 5, 4, and 7.
Touchdowns are fluky.
But he's production.
Fluky stat.
He's heavily targeted. He's going to be a safety blanket for any quarterback. That's what he was at NC State. He progressively rose in his production each year in college. And I like to see that from, again, a school that isn't known for airing it out and going crazy and all this shit. Do you think I'm affected by anything you're doing right now? You're so dumb. It's ridiculous. But Harmon, what I like about Harmon, he's capable of running every route. His combination of size, speed, and physicality make him tough to tackle after the catch. It was great after he catches the ball. He ran a 4.6 40, which on paper doesn't seem great, and I think that's going to hurt his draft stock a lot, but I don't think it should. I think he's a first-round talent. He effortlessly gets in and out of breaks and routinely makes tough contested catches. He's got great sideline awareness. There are a few concerns that I would say. His ability to separate from defensive backs, I think, might hurt him a little bit. From what I've watched, that's kind of my biggest.
He just looks kind of slow.
He looks kind of slow.
When you watch him on film, it's just like,
So, as much as important as all that stuff is, do you believe that they can just be taught that with a good coach, maybe a good wide receiver, mentor?
I think that's a lot that comes
Yeah.
from within. I mean, what the fuck do I know?
All right, I'll take that.
I'm sitting here trying to analyze and where I would draft Kelvin Harmon. I don't know if that's going to be coachable. I think it is. I mean, he played at NC State. He was productive freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Production speaks volumes, as we've been talking. Nick, you were saying it before. You like to see the body of work. He's had the body of work. He's 22 years old, and he's been productive in his college career at a school that's not, it's not Oklahoma University where they're throwing the ball 742 times a game. He had 81 catches last year for 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's good production. Averages 17 a catch. So, his contested catch, he's going to make contested catches. He excels in that. I don't think he's as good as Jaws, but throughout his whole college career, he was great. So I like him at 109.
Yeah, I do have my concerns with Harmon. We kind of
there's definitely concerns.
Yeah, he was when the whole draft process started, before all the testing and stuff. Harmon was looked at as a top 3 dynasty pick, and then he tested, like you said, the 4.6 is
It's not good.
concerning. His burst and agility score definitely. He didn't test well at all. Like everything is said and done, which makes me nervous. And it backed up because I watched film first, and I was like, I like him. He looks like, it's like between him and Hakeem Butler, it's like whoever tests better is going to be the one that really jumps out to me. And when you watch him on film, it's like it's noticeably like, can he really separate? Yeah,
like it's that next jump to the NFL. I do have.
It reminded me of Cortland Sutton when I watched Cortland Sutton last year.
Let's talk shit about Cortland.
My first thing I noticed is like the guy can't get away from cornerbacks whatsoever,
and Harmon can't. You could see that on his tape.
Yeah.
But I do think the physical tools are there, and his production is there.
So
That's why
my concern is like
round one.
He might just turn into like a red zone threat, and those guys are not like.
No, they're not. I'm not.
It's like the Josh Doxson or like the Mike Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit like that. It's like they're great, whatever, for an NFL team, but like they're not ever going to be anything for your fantasy team.
PFF's NFL comparison for him was Kenny Galladay. For what that's worth.
Interesting.
I can kind of see it. I think.
See, that's one of those things. It's just all going to depend on the team that he goes to.
Right. Of course.
Yeah, of
course. I do think when all is said and done, he's going to be a solid NFL wide receiver. Whether that translate well to our fantasy business is a different story. So we will see.
Right.
But this was also a pick, and I said it while we were mocking yesterday that I didn't want to take D-Fade. So
that was my big. There was someone else on the board there.
I was doing everything in my power.
Harmon, and I talked myself into it. 6'2", 221. That 40 that does scare me, but his production's there, and contested catch wise, he's going to catch everything. He's got great hands, so we'll see.
All right, solid. This is the 110. Again?
You would know.
Yeah.
Damn. Fucking tough,
sorry.
Man.
Go ahead.
Tough scene. All right, so
maybe it's just hang
the 110. I went for Kyler Murray. I took the first quarterback off the board here. Some might say it's a little early. Listen, I like to take some risks. So Kyler Murray is considered like the number one.
Should be more aggressive there. Some of you say it's too early. Fuck you guys. That's what I want to see out of you, Animal. I need more.
Fuck him, Animal. Fuck him.
Yeah, like that right there. That's what I need. Don't break the mic, but
oh shit. Well, I tell you what, that is disgusting.
Spit all over the place. But listen, he was the highest graded by most scouts at the quarterback position. He's very accurate, strong arm. He can squeeze the ball through the tight windows. His playmaking ability, his playmaker skills are pretty much why everyone's kind of so high on him. He had 1,000 rushing yards last season.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete.
I did not know that until I looked this up. I knew he had a lot, but 1,000 with 12 touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns, 1,000 yards. Russell Wilson, who he's been getting his comparison to, only had 1,400 rushing yards in 4 seasons in college.
Yeah, I don't really like that comparison.
It's mainly a height comparison, but.
Well, the reason those rushing numbers are so fucking impressive is because it wasn't like he threw for 2,000 yards and then had 1,000 yards rushing. Like he threw for what, 4,200 yards?
Yeah, almost 4,300 yards, plus the 1,000 yards rushing.
That's the thing, yeah, because it's not like it was taking away from his passing yards. He was just doing it all.
He had an adjusted completion percentage of 51.9% on his deep passes and 11.6 yards per average, which is pretty fantastic. Haskins was a full 2.5 yards fewer.
Don't talk shit about Dwayne Haskins.
Why? He's not even a Giant yet.
He's not going to be. But I will root for him wherever he goes.
Why? Just because you liked him since we started talking about him 2 months ago?
Yeah, I'm all in.
That's so dumb.
Listen, the main reason
I
why
had a cocktail when Adam Thielen signed his extension.
The main reason why I went with Murray here is because he could be a 10, 15-year starter in the NFL if he pans out. So I will take that risk. And even though this is a one quarterback league, I will still take that risk because even if I have someone else, I could trade him. There's so many opportunities I can use him for in Dynasty if he does pan out as the prospect that everyone believes he will be. So,
you know what I liked about him? He played really well against Alabama, and that Alabama team, that defense was pretty damn good. He threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he ran for 100 yards and a touchdown too. Like he played.
That second half, they were down.
They were down big. He brought him back. He made that game competitive. He played one of his better games in the biggest game against the best team. So, really like that. I think he's a weirdo, and I've said that.
You say that, but that was also his worst completion percentage.
No, absolutely.
He didn't start the game off hot.
No, he did not. He was 51. His completion percentage was
51%. Yeah, and he was floating around the 73, 72 mark pretty much every game all season.
Absolutely, but again, that was a team they have they were playing West Virginia, Kansas, and Texas Tech and shit like that. They go when they play this juggernaut Alabama. Of course, it's going to take him a little bit to figure it out. And what impressed me most was he did that second half. He was great.
Yeah. Listen, given the way the NFL is trending, Murray's his blend of arm talent, mobility, and his playmaking ability, it's worth investing into.
I hate him, but I think he's gonna be good.
All right. So our favorite player in this year's draft, I think collectively we can all agree, DK Metcalf at the 111 spot. D-Fade Metcalf, as we are going to refer to him from now on as. Now, normally in most rookie drafts, he's not going to fall this far. I'm assuming he'll go in.
He should, though.
He should. He'll probably go. Like, I wouldn't take a quarterback above him. I wouldn't take some of the other guys that we mentioned above him. But the upside is there.
Good hit. Come on. 4-3-3.
But the floor is also absolutely there. There's a lot to be concerned about. The fact that he's the consensus number one prospect at the wide receiver position in this draft class is fucking alarming from like an NFL standpoint. Like, what are these?
These scouts get paid a lot of money.
A lot of fucking money to get a lot of things wrong, right? And Metcalf, like, when you look at the body of work, yes, you can pick apart what he did on a per game basis. It was good and, blah, blah, blah. But A.J. Brown was the far superior wide receiver in that offense, right?
I think DeMarcus Lodge could even...
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Be better than him in the NFL.
Maybe. I don't like DeMarcus too much, but again, yeah, it's a fact that they all shared the field. A.J. Brown dominated, and DK Metcalf, he also, like, no one talks about, like, the injury concerns. He's missed so much time
listen,
throughout
when
college.
you have that much muscle, you're going to get injured.
Why is that? I never get injured. What's up, though?
Yeah, you look just like DK. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, so, I mean... DK, like, you've probably heard most of the stats up to this point. Like, DK ran 70% of his routes that were like go routes or just based off of his straight line speed, which we know that, he absolutely dominated the combine, one of the top testing measurable athletes of all time from the combine at the wide receiver position. He ran all of his routes from the left side. All of his routes were based on his straight line speed. So you get concerned with, can he run routes over the middle? Can he really be the all-around, number one receiver in an offense and run all the different routes across the field? It's like that becomes the biggest concern. And, I don't know. Metcalf is just a guy who didn't produce over a long, consistent period of time.
The shuttle scores, all the from the combine are very alarming. Can he turn? Can he run a route?
Can he turn?
Is he not just running straight down the field? That's the problem. I watched him get absolutely bodied and boxed up, destroyed by Greedy Williams. He went, what was it? I have it right here.
Big Greedy Williams fan, by the way.
3 catches for 37 yards on 14 targets. And I watched every single target, and he couldn't get any separation.
He's got bottled up against a lot of good teams.
Dropping balls that are hitting him in the chest.
You'll see plays where he looks fucking unbelievable. He gets off the line of scrimmage really quick, and if you hit him on that deep pass, like in stride, holy shit! Like he does look like the second coming of Josh Gordon. But that's not every play. He's inconsistent at best, and he's rarely on the field because he's always hurt.
He's going to be a boomer bust guy if he's starting on your team.
Yeah, like you're going to have weeks where you might get top 3 wide receiver numbers out of him, but you might have 3 or 4 weeks in a row where you're not getting shit out of him.
Yeah.
And when you're in a dynasty league, I think too, because you really only can improve your team one of 2 ways, right? It's via trades throughout the regular season, or it's through your rookie draft. And I think taking a player with as high of a risk as DK Metcalf, especially, you're probably going to have to take him, in the majority of drafts, like top 5, like 105, if not like 103 or something like that. That's such a risky pick to make, especially with the crop that we have this year's wide receivers. Like, if you miss on your first round pick, like, boom, there goes another year of improvement for your team. Like, that's very risky.
How do you feel about taking him where you took him in this mock draft?
Perfectly. Honestly,
other than the fact that you're just not high on him in general, but like if you can get him at the 111,
you can get him at the 111. Yeah, I would. I'm happy here with that. Yeah. I would probably take him as early as like the 108, depending on who else is left on the board.
Yeah, depends
on
your
like
team
that.
too, who you have.
Yeah, but I mean, all the way down here, the upside is absolutely worth the risk because it's not like 111. At this point, it's a coin flip to whether or not this guy's even going to help you on your fantasy team. But the earlier you get in your rookie draft, of course, the less risk I want. I want a sure stud player, and you're going to be able to get that in the top 5 picks, but you might not get that with Metcalf, and that's what scares me. So it's
I'm leaning towards you're not getting that.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like we're all telling you he's very risky pick.
You'll get it like every 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's not like you got to completely fade the guy, but at the back half of the first round, Sure, that's
and
it.
There's a lot of people out there that slob on this guy's knob, so he's gonna go right.
That's what I mean, yeah. Because if you're not into fantasy like we are at this point, you'll have guys that haven't really been paying attention. You'll see DK Metcalf, he's a number one wide receiver.
They see
he's
that
gonna have the
40
draft
time.
capital too. That's the thing. Like he'll be the first wide receiver off the board for most likely, and that means that he'll get tons of chances. But that also means like he'll have trade value in dynasty leagues for a long time.
Yeah,
so he'll keep getting chances,
Absolutely.
and we'll see where he goes. If he ends up going to like Baltimore, if he ends up going to Buffalo, obviously he's going to drop further down the draft board because
If he goes to either two of those teams, that would be
he's
terrible.
untouched. I wouldn't even go near him.
Yeah,
if
so-
you paid me to take him, I wouldn't. Maybe I probably would actually.
That's how
Someone
we're
paid,
feeling about
someone paid.
Metcalf right now.
Depends on how
So
much.
I don't mean to shit on you now. I don't like him. And
Listen, listen, we all did this. We were all trying to not pick him.
Yeah, I mean, and
It took us all the way to 11th. We were like joking about it in our group
You
text.
probably
like,
just took him because you knew
who's
he has
gonna-
to go in the first round.
Who's going to take him? Kind of, yeah. I was like,
Well, when I took
because people will give us no credibility because
Yeah.
Metcalf's supposed to go so fucking high.
When I took Harmon, I think you're like, oh wow, going there. I was like, well, I don't want to take Metcalf.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I thought you were going to take Metcalf. I was going to get Harmon next.
No, sorry.
See, like I would have taken Metcalf where you took Harmon. I know
Yeah.
that like you just didn't want to
I
take
just didn't
fucking
want to.
Metcalf.
I just don't like him, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you taking him for us.
Well, listen, if you don't like somebody, don't take them.
Facts.
Draft your guy. I will say draft your guys.
Draft your
I
guy.
don't care
Even
where
if
it is.
people are going to say, "Oh, it's a reach," Listen, if you are high on somebody and you really like them, draft that guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you got no one to blame but yourself. But
Yeah.
if you take someone that you were supposed to take, knowing that like in your heart of hearts you were like, fuck this guy, I don't want to take him. Then he busts. Then you're gonna feel like shit.
Yep.
So get your guy.
Yeah, always go with the
your
gut.
guy.
Always go with the gut.
So who's your guy at the 112? I don't know who I'm talking to right now. Who has it? Okay.
Me. You want to just do this?
What?
No, I'm kidding.
I think he got nervous that he was gonna mispronounce it
I've
again.
nothing-
I was torn between a few guys, as they know, but I went with Noah Fant or Fant, whichever you prefer. You said it was Fant, Nick.
Fant, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going with.
I give you permission.
We're
to
going
call
with
him
Fant, and he's a tight end, but he screams more of like. He doesn't scream tight end to me. He ran a 4.5. He's got a 40-foot vertical.
That's absurd.
That is
4.5.
That is absurd. Like
That was faster than most of the running backs this year.
Literally, he kind of
Yeah,
screams
dude,
like
both-
Evan Ingram to me, who I don't see as a tight end.
He's bigger too.
He's bigger,
Taller.
I
Has
just-
way more weight on him.
Listen, in college, he obviously had Hockenson, who is, in my opinion, a better player. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Hockenson, but he caught 40 balls, 500 yards, 7 touchdowns last year. And the year before that, he went 30, 511. So he's had some pretty good production there.
Yeah,
He's
especially
not-
with Hockenson there.
with Hockenson there, right? Exactly. So I don't know. He's
He's a specimen.
Yeah.
I'm trying
He's
to
a
find
freak
the words.
athlete who just needs to be utilized the right way in the right offense.
Right, because he's crazy athletic. He's got great speed, and that's it's gonna shoot him up. I think we took him at Oakland at 24. I think we took him.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a great fit for him.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he could come in right away and play next to Antonio Brown, who he'll open up the middle. I think he's able to find zone. He's able to find spots in the zone well when they're playing zone. He finds good openings.
He's just such a mismatch for every
Yeah.
fucking
Crazy.
person that
and especially in this NFL now, like that's perfect, especially over the middle.
they use him in screens too, which is just
You
a
can
perfect
use him
deployment of
anywhere.
him.
You can literally use him anywhere. The only thing that I have a few concerns about him, but
What are your concerns about him?
well, he drops the ball a lot.
Yes.
He's got bad hands.
Thank you.
He
I'm so
does-
happy you said that.
Yes, he does not have.
'Cause I
great,
feel like no one else really says it. There's
Yeah.
a couple of draft things I read that said it, but it's not out there enough.
He does not. When you watch the tape, and he drops some very easy balls.
Yep.
There's no
He-
contested
he-
catches.
He
He's got-
catches with his
can't-
chest.
He catches with his chest. Yeah. Well, I mean, if he
I need
scores,
this.
If he scores 18 touchdowns, we take 18 chest touchdowns, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
18 chest touchdowns is fine, but
No, you're right. He does. He does not have good hands, so that's going to hurt him, and it's going
concerning.
to drive us crazy. It's going to drive you crazy when you draft him, and you see him drop these easy catches, and then when he gets the ball, he can make plays after the catch because of his speed and athleticism.
Yes.
he can make guys miss, but he has to catch the ball first.
Yeah.
he's not getting the ball handed off to him. He's getting the ball thrown to him. So
Yeah.
that is my one concern, and it's a big concern.
that's the biggest difference between him and Hockenson. If you watch Hawkinson's highlights, you can see him go full extension, backwards, in the air.
He's an
and
athlete
just-
on film. Where
Yeah.
it was an athlete like metrics wise,
Yes.
like
right,
testing
exactly.
wise.
And after the combine, we came here, and I was raving about Fant.
Yeah.
I was raving about him.
Because the numbers are there.
The numbers are there, but once you go back and you read into him more and you watch his tape, you come back to where I am now. I like him, but I'm not in love with him. I think he could be very productive from the tight end spot, a premium position where you want good production. Just got to catch the ball.
Yeah, with Fant, it's like, my concern with him with the drops in the hands are definitely there. But I think for for like fantasy, that's not like that big of a concern because so my problem with drops is like, yeah, you're going to watch them and be like, fuck, I wish you caught that because it'd be another, 2.7 points for my team. But the drops, unless they're directly leading to less play time, I'm not as concerned. And since he's going to be a first-round pick, they're not going to take him off.
For a
the field.
tight end, it's a little concerning because tight ends' targets are kind of already limited.
That's a good
just
point.
because of your position.
Yeah.
So, like,
So
if it was
if
a
he-
wide receiver, you don't want your wide receiver dropping the ball anyway either. But, like, they
For
have
Eric,
more
look at Eric
opportunities.
Ebron. Drops killed him for a while.
For a first round pick, so I mean, he drops the ball 24/7. So I mean,
Listen, your quarterback might not feel
fuck
comfortable throwing to you if you drop the first 2 passes, or you drop the first ball he throws to you. Now he's going to want to look, all that stuff matters.
That's a good
But
point.
listen, the athleticism is there.
Yeah, it is. And from the tight end spot, like I
A
said,
matter of whether or not it translates.
I see a lot of Evan Ingram in him, and he's bigger. So
Yep.
we'll see. And I like Ingram a lot this year.
Yeah, and the
We'll
other
see
thing
about
about
that.
the other thing about
Just
Fant
saying.
too is like there's a lot of guys who test really well as tight ends, but like he has the production to back it up as well.
Yes.
I mean the yardage is not like at a massive number, but considering he was sharing time with Hockenson and stuff at tight end, like he's not going to get all those targets, of course. But the production is good to see behind it because anyone could be test really well off the charts and shit like that. But if you can't actually put it onto the field and really produce based off of those athletics. And we saw, like we said, the mismatches are crazy. So utilized correctly, his ceiling is
Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
And there it is.
had to get in at least one of them.
Even hungover, I still got you, baby.
Yeah, so that's the 112, and that wraps it up. And I think it's listed down below. Let's talk real quick about who else we had. You said we were like debating at 112. I think we were talking about Paris Campbell, Ohio State.
Who I love. I love Paris
what's his name,
Campbell.
Darrell Henderson?
I took the upside of Fant at 12 over Campbell, who I do love.
Yeah, and again, I think it goes back to the point we made with Hockenson. It's like depending on your team, do you need a tight end? Because who knows if Fant's going to be able to produce immediately as a rookie.
Right.
And then we were talking about Darrell Henderson, who wasn't taken. I think he'll probably go in the first round.
I really
of a
like
lot of
his
drafts.
biggest problem is just a matter of where he's going to be in the NFL, what team, and is he going to be the second guy on the roster, the third guy, or the first guy? Is he going to have the opportunity to play? That's the biggest concern.
I'm concerned with his size and stuff too. But yeah, right around that end of the first, early second would be guys like Paris Campbell, Darrell Henderson.
Henderson's another guy who we kind of went back and forth on him a little bit yesterday. For some reason, I watched a lot of Memphis games last year.
Yeah.
And he exploded on the TV. But when you dive a little bit deeper, he's definitely got some concerns.
Yeah, the size concerns. The line was just like put up massive holes for him.
Massive,
but,
like
but everything
Rachel
else, I
Starr,
mean,
like
numbers. Guys averaged like 8.9 yards per carry over the last 2 years, which
Crazy.
is
That offense is that's a fun offense.
yeah. So there are definitely some guys that could have snuck in, and it'll be different with your guys' drafts. But we wanted to put on the radar, which guys we're looking at, and I mean the draft spot particularly is not huge. It's just like the general feelings of how we, how we're grading guys right now.
Yeah. And then we get to see too once they get drafted where they go, and then we do this again
We'll have
and
a
see
better
how
feel.
it changes.
This could change a lot.
Oh yeah,
this is going to change.
I mean,
lot.
I'm expecting it to change based on where these guys.
Yeah,
land
Hakeem
on
Butler goes to
their
New
teams.
England. He's number one. I love him.
Stop
I'm
that.
gonna stick my dick out for him. I love him.
That would actually be a
just
Well, I
Pull
did
it.
that for Adam Thielen. He blew up.
You
so.
mean stick your dick out? Like just pull your dick out?
Well, I meant like stick my stick my
Your
life
neck?
out for him, but I use
Stick your neck out.
Your
for him.
neck.
Your neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I use dick.
You can't think of neck. He
We have
goes.
like-
He
we
goes.
have-
I thought you were just gonna
we
like.
have like a lot of dirt balls on here. If you read the comments, so I kind of tried to like blend in with.
I thought you were just gonna like put your dick out there like at the draft, like Hakeem Butler, and
We
like
could do that.
I mean, I probably will.
pull your dick out.
He's got to get arrested one way or
Well,
another.
if I haven't got arrested yet, I'm just gonna pull it out.
You
That's
would
not
use
the
it.
thing you want to get arrested.
You
for.
need a one.
true.
Yeah, then you'll
You're
be
better
like
off assaulting somebody.
sexual harassment.
Yeah.
You'll be on like the child predator list.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a
By
lot.
the way,
of
there's somebody commenting like snacks. It's 6 whatever. Listen, I'm not a fucking creep, all right?
Oh yeah,
just-
someone
I'm
said
What'd they
just-
comment?
about the age of consent
About the
in
age
the
of
comments.
consent. Listen, I'm
Snacks was
not
like,
a fucking
oh
creep.
no.
No, I'm just saying what I know. I used to be a cop.
What?
Where? In Nashville.
In, like your backyard with the Wild West badge.
I used to play
Fucking,
20
I'm
I
the
used to
sheriff.
I used to play 24 the game on PS2, so that's
Okay,
kinda where
that sounds like you get off now because you know the age of consent. This is fucking bullshit.
Listen, did you like your pizza game?
I like my what?
Pizza game? I didn't even know you ate it.
Pizza.
I'm gonna
King?
eat mine right now.
Did you eat it?
Yeah. This fucking sucked.
Really?
It sucked so bad I had to eat the whole thing.
Bro, it's so good.
It was really fucking good.
Yeah,
I was
man,
excited
come
about it.
on.
Is this like only an Easter thing?
Only an Easter.
Yeah,
It only happens on Easter.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's
What is the
Brian
bread?
Delsini gave me one last year, like a big
It's
ass.
so good. So it's pizza dough, And then
pizza dough.
It's like salami. I can't remember.
Basically
everything.
like a
Salami-
stuffed slice of pizza that's just huge.
It's a heart attack on a plate.
Yeah.
It's pizza dough, then salami, pepperoni, mozzarella. It's got like 12 eggs in there. I can't think of the rest of it, and then it's pizza dough on top, and then it's
Interesting.
Take a bite, animal. Tell the people what you think.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. Good.
That looked like the fakest reaction I've ever seen.
No, that's good.
Say it with your fucking chest. Say it like you mean it.
I'm gonna choke.
Say it like.
You are disgusting. But
No. I don't need any more comments about that shit.
yeah, I'm done. Oh my God, we're gonna be traveling with him and like eating with him. It's gonna be so gross.
This is gonna be a good one. All right, well that's gonna wrap up. Make sure you got the notifications turned on, following us on socials to see all the behind the scenes bullshit that goes on in Nashville. GoFundMe.com/BigDogDraft. If you want one quick last entry into the league, it will shut down at Friday midnight, going into Saturday.
We'll be on Central Time though, so it'll be 11 o'clock.
It's a 1 hour difference.
Is it down in Nashville? Oh, it is, because I remember when I went for New Year's Eve a couple of years ago, everyone was like celebrating.
When I go down to Memphis for work, it's always
So
throws me off.
if you follow the Fade the Public Twitter, we'll post something before we are going to do the selection. So we'll say, listen, 30 minutes from now we'll do.
Yeah, we'll
so
keep you
can
updated.
Keep an update, and then we'll do
Follow
the live
the Fade
stream.
the Public Twitter account because we will be updating you.
Yeah, we'll give you an update of when we're going to do everything.
My family's killing me. It's Easter, so I have to go. I love you guys, and I love you guys.
Bye. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't even say like Happy Easter and whatnot. But
Yeah, happy Easter.
Happy Passover too for the Jews.
Yeah.
hey, get that
Yeah,
thumbs up.
you damn
Subscribe to the
Jews.
channel if you're new, and we're out of here.